This is the Pubs and Pints Podcast. This podcast encourages open conversations where guests freely share their views. Their thoughts and opinions are solely their own and are intended for discussion purposes. How we doing, Des? Good?
I'm doing good.
It's good to see you.
How did you get over the Christmas? Good?
Oh, it was great. We had a lot of guests and a lot of family visiting, and at all different times. We do Christmas Eve, and it was, we had like 28 people at the house.
Wow.
But then people that couldn't make Christmas Eve, 2 days later, we had another group of people come, and so we were just entertaining quite a bit, Yeah, but it's great. I love that time of year.
Yeah, so do I. We have a small family, so we normally keep it to ourselves, and with just a few girlfriends and boyfriends of the kids showing up, So
right.
we don't do the big entertaining thing at all, But it's good. It's one of my favorite times of year,
How many kids do you have, Des?
Three.
Yeah,
I have a girl and two boys.
Okay. Now you grew up in Galway and you're still in Galway, right?
Grew up in Galway. Grew up very rural in East Galway. So
East Galway.
I'm not that far from Athenry.
Oh, all right.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So
Yep.
actually, our thing when we were growing up was we were 15 miles from Athenry, 15 from Ballinasloe, 15 from Loughrea. We're right in the centre of kind of Galway,
Oh, all right. So you're halfway between Ballinasloe and Athenry.
Yeah. Yeah,
That's
exactly.
Okay. My friend Tommy, his mom is from Ballinasloe.
Oh, really?
Monaghan would be the last name, Monaghan.
What's a popular name? Yeah, around East Galway. Yeah, there were a few of them, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, that's his mom's side, and his dad's side is from Sligo.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
They're, they came over here a while ago, but kind of a sad story. They own a bar in Tubbacurry, Sligo. The whole family had a bar there, T. Brennan's, and the place closed because of COVID and never opened up again.
Yeah,
I know there's a lot that happened a lot over there.
There's a lot of pubs in small towns in Ireland, in rural Ireland, Tim, and they were being ran by, the grandson of the guy that was very successful 80 years ago, but they weren't viable at all. They were just a way of living. And then when they closed during COVID, they realized, you know what, let's stay closed. We're making no money. All we're doing is fulfilling the needs of a few locals, and there was nothing in it for the publicans at all,
Yeah. It's a shame.
Yeah.
It's a shame. It's so much like history, I know that pub has, it started off in the 1930s, and when people would come there from wherever, they would always bring a trinket or something because that was kind of one of their things. So behind the bar, there's so many memories and trinkets from throughout the years.
Yeah.
And it's still there because his aunt lives, it's one of those places where the house is attached to the bar.
Yeah.
So, she still lives there, but I never reopened the pub.
Yeah. It's funny. I used to call when I was working with Guinness, I used to call to this particular town in Mayo, County Mayo. And it was a town, I suppose, Swinford. I don't know. Have you ever been to Swinford?
I know Swinford. Yeah. I drive through there when I'm going up to Belmullet. Yeah.
Yeah. There were 70 pubs in Swinford at one stage.
Wow.
70. And when I used to call there was about 33 or 34. And they were saying it was an awful shame that the 35 pubs were kind of gone. But I believe now there's about 6. But there should never have been 70. There should never have been 30. The right number is probably 10. We were overpopulated with pubs,
Yeah. That's the town. I'm in the bagpipe band with the fire department, and my good friend Chris Walsh, his father is from Swinford.
Oh, yeah.
So he's been back there and he's visited. I've never actually stopped in Swinford. I've driven through it, a bunch of times, but I never stopped there.
There isn't much to it, it's one of them worst towns, really,
Yeah.
Come here, how are all the boys keeping?
Everybody's good. We went out to lunch the other day. Yeah, it was good.
You didn't have the full posse though.
No, we were missing. Well, Brian showed up after I sent you that picture.
Oh yeah.
But we were still missing. Sean never shows up. Sean lives in Connecticut.
Okay.
You know,
Sure, Sean didn't show up. Mikey wasn't going to show up.
Mike didn't show up. He was out of town.
Kenny.
And Kenny didn't show up. He was out of town too.
And Jerry. Don't think Jerry was. Oh, Jerry was.
Jerry
there.
was there.
Oh yeah.
Jerry was there. He was in the picture. Yeah. I love that. I love that you remember everybody from our trip, and it's great. We know what we'll get into that towards the end. You and I are about the same age. We're pretty close in age.
Yeah, I was born in 1965. I was born at home in my home house. So yeah, I was the second youngest of 5. So the last 2, myself and my sister. My mother just got this thing. She didn't want to go into any hospital to have us. So there was a kind of a midwife or a local nurse brought to the house, and we were born in our own bedrooms, you know. So I'm out and out Galway person. Yeah, but so that was 19. So I don't remember much of the.
You don't remember being born?
I remember day 2. I don't remember day 1, but I remember day 2. But I don't remember much of the 60s. But the 70s then is where it all kind of kicked off, you know.
Yeah.
And the 70s, I suppose, the 70s in Ireland was radically different to what we know now. I suppose Ireland in the 70s, I would imagine, was like the US in the 30s.
Okay.
There was a terrible recession, depression even. There was nothing going on. There wasn't any work. If you did have a job, you were probably in the trades. You were a labourer, a carpenter, plumber, bricklayer. Nothing wrong with that, but that's probably what you were, and you were probably earning £1 a week in the 1970s.
In the 70s.
Yeah. Very low wages, and very, very, very kind of weren't great times in Ireland in the 70s. I couldn't look back romantically on the 70s as being great. Maybe later on in them, but at the beginning, my father died in 1973 when I was 8. So my mother had to bring the 5 of us up as a widow, and it was tough. You know, we had a small little farm, 27 acres of land, and a couple of cows, and that was it, really. You know, so we weren't wealthy at all. We were well down the social rung, you know. But we did all right, you know. And my mother milked the cows every morning by hand. And she milked them every evening. And she'd have the milk, she'd have the dairy cans put out for the truck to call for 8:30, except on a Sunday when he called at 7:30, because people wanted to go to first mass. That time there was mass at 8:30 and mass, I think, at 10 o'clock, I think. So, so she was a hard worker. She brought us up and all that kind of stuff, you know, and we did okay, you know. Remember, when I was growing up, we didn't have, we had no television. We got a television in about 1974, and we got a car. Then my brother bought a car then in about 1975. We didn't have running water in the house. We had water, we had toilets, and we had hot water and all that. But we didn't have any cold drinking water. So what we would do was we had a tank, and it took all the water off the roof of the house into a big concrete tank, and we had a pump, and that pump pumped it up to the attic, and we used it for hot water for baths. We didn't have any shower for a bath and for hot water and washing and that kind of stuff. And then in 1970, probably 74 as well, we got the rural water scheme came. We thought we didn't have to go to the well anymore to bring buckets of water, and we thought all our Christmases had come together. So so we grew up. It was like poor enough, but the whole of Ireland was that way. Now, in East Galway, probably a bit worse. The west of Ireland in general would be poorer than the east of Ireland. Always was, still is. And but I suppose the country itself, while we were slow developing, we were left with nothing as a country in 1922 when we got our independence from the Brits. So they left us with nothing. They did leave us with a few roads and railways and a few colleges and that, but overall we had to kick it off from scratch, you know. So the 70s was a kind of a slow time. And then the 1980s, I suppose in the 70s as well, then I remember, I suppose my first memories would be playing with my brothers and my sister and my sisters, playing cowboys and Indians and that kind of stuff. And then my brother got a gun, got a shotgun, and then went shooting, hunting foxes. And if you shot a fox back then, it was worth £15. It was great money. Actually, no, in the 70s it was probably £7 or £8, but in the 80s then it went to 15. So you've out in the sun,
was there a
shot
lot
4 or
of
5 foxes.
Was there a lot of fox then?
Oh, a ton of foxes, yeah. We'd a great dog. We had a Springer Spaniel, a liver white lab with big long ears in him, and he was great for putting the foxes out of cover.
Wow.
You know.
Now, usually when there's fox hunting, there's also bird hunting. So, like, was there pheasants or?
Oh yeah. The 1st of November was the start of the pheasant season. So we go shooting pheasants. We go shooting ducks first. The ducks started in September, and we'd shoot ducks for a few weeks, and then we get sick of that, and then we'd wait until November. 1st of November was pheasants, and that would last about 2 weeks, and then it went on to foxes, and we'd stay shooting foxes every Sunday, including Christmas Day and St. Stephen's Day. We go shooting foxes every Sunday until about the 17th of March. And St. Patrick's Day, then we'd go hurling. The hurling would start, and it was all hurling then for the whole summer. Then, no?
So you went right from hunting right into hurling.
One form of murder to another.
Oh, that's interesting.
Yeah.
Now, did you eat the fox, or was it more for the pelt?
Oh, no. We were pretty bad, but we never ate foxes. No, it was for the fur.
Yeah.
It was for the fur. So there was a guy in a local town, and he would buy the foxes off us, you know. And but we ate the pheasants, we ate the ducks, but not the foxes, you know. Well, we'll come back to the 70s again. An interesting story. I was talking to a guy one day. I'd say he's long dead now, and he used to sell calves, you know, baby cows, for a living. And he told me that in 1973, that was the worst year. 73 was a bad year, personally, with my father dying, but it was a terrible weather as well. It just rained constantly for months on end. And it was a bad summer and a bad winter. And because it was such a bad summer, we didn't get any hay. We never got to make the hay or enough. So we had no feed for the cattle. So farmers were selling their cattle dirt cheap. And he told me that he had a truck one time, and he was selling calves, and he was selling them at £1 a piece. And a guy called to him and he said, "I'll give you 50 pence for the last calf you have." He says, "No." And he wouldn't sell him. He went out the road and threw him into some guy's field for nothing, rather than sell him for 50 pence.
Right.
Yeah, it was poor old times. I'm painting a very gloomy picture, but that's the way it was in the 70s, you know?
Yeah. Well, that's stuff I want to hear. You know, this is, it's history, and it's documenting things that, you know, there's a lot of people that don't know this.
Yeah.
And I think it's good to have this kind of stuff. That's what I like about these podcasts now, because you can sit and listen to things, you know, like this. I find it interesting. And again, it's good to document it.
Yeah. In the 1980s, I remember I was in you guys would call it high school, and I was doing my final exam in Ireland. Is called the Leaving Certificate, and it still is. Your whole world is based on how you do with this final exam. And I did mine in 1983, and I remember our teacher, one of the teachers, called us in one day, and he said, "Listen, you're about to do your Leaving Cert, and irrespective," this is what he told the whole class, "irrespective of how it goes, most of you guys are not going to get any jobs in Ireland. There's no work. There's a recession on, So he said, pick up a hobby. Those of you who play hurling and football, it was all GA where I live. There was no rugby or soccer. Like, you're doing well. Those who were not, pick up a hobby because you're never going to have a job in Ireland ever again. There's just no work and there's no future. So you have to immigrate. So my advice is to immigrate to the United States or Canada or England, and you'll get work over there. So that was 83, like, so it was a kind of a bleak enough outlook. Now, he made it worse. He actually made it worse than it actually was. I'm not drinking a pint, Tim, but I'm drinking a cup of tea.
Oh, I forgot. You know what? You don't mind if I have a pint, do you?
Tim, do you know what I've done during the Christmas? I have a Guinness tap in my shed.
Oh.
And I got a barrel of Guinness and I tapped it up. So I had 5 or 6 pints of Guinness every night.
Oh.
So now that is gone, I am back on
taking a
the
break.
old tea again.
And do you call it G-Mix over there?
We just call it draft Guinness. Yeah. What you have to get is you've got to get a cylinder of gas. And there's a gas mix for Guinness. Which is
what is that gas? Is it nitrogen or?
It is. It's about 70% nitrogen and 30% CO2.
Yeah.
So what I had is I had my Guinness tap. I had a cooler to cool it down. Sláinte. I had a tap. I had a cooler to cool it down to the right temperature. You need to serve Guinness at about 6 degrees. So 6 Celsius, whatever. And the gas is key. That's why Guinness overseas doesn't seem to be the same. Like, you know what I mean? I don't know why.
Yeah.
We can have this, I'm sure you can have the same gas anywhere else, but anyway, the Guinness, Tim, was pure cream. It was lovely.
Oh, it is definitely different in Ireland. I know that for a fact. I mean, there are places in the U.S. where you get it, and it's definitely better than other places. I always tell people never take a pint of Guinness from a hotel.
You know what? It's the same in Ireland. In Ireland, the Guinness is not great in hotels either.
Yeah. Oh, it's not poured enough.
It's poured enough, but the problem with it is hotels, by their nature, do a lot of food. And when they do a lot of food, they sometimes put their plates, greasy plates, in the same glass washer as Guinness glasses. And if you get a tinge of grease or milk...
it's definitely all about the glass, too. 100%.
All about the glass.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
You can tell when a place doesn't wash that glass good enough. Yeah. That's a fact. But even some of the pubs, like really good pubs, good Irish pubs in New York City, you might have like the front bar and the back bar. And that back bar doesn't get used as much as the front bars. I always get my pint from the front bar because it's poured more.
Yeah.
Little things.
But they're very important. Yeah. But I remember like the older folks. Here am I talking about it, but I know the older folks, and they would go into the local pub, and there might be the son or the daughter of the publican working along with their father. And the older guy would say, I want a pint of Guinness, not from you though, I want your father to pour it. They were that particular.
I can see that. See that. I've been to plenty of places, especially in Ireland, where you come in and the kid behind the bar is, 15 years old.
Yeah.
Plenty of times. Yeah.
Yeah, and he's filling a pint and he's sending a text at the same time, yeah.
You just reminded me of a story of that. I haven't heard this story in so many years. So my friend Bronco, he died on 9/11, was fireman, passed away. You probably have heard me talk about him before. Yeah. Bronco was this massive human being, football player. He played college football. He played for the FDNY. They had a football team. He played on that team, but he was also in the bagpipe band. Just a character of a person. We loved this guy to death. But anyway, we were in Ireland one time. This is probably in the mid 90s. There's 5 or 6 of us. And again, Bronco he's just a massive human being, And we walked into this bar, and it was in Galway too, in like maybe Linan or Mam, somewhere. It might have been Keen's or something, like somewhere just north of Galway City. And we walked into this pub, and this bartender has got to be 15 years old, if that. And he threw out coasters on the bar for us as if he was bartending for 100 years. And he looked right at Bronco and he says, congratulations on your size. What do you have? And we all just looked at each other and said, that was an interesting statement from, from a 15-year-old bartender. He looked right at Bronco and says, congratulations on your size. He was a massive, just a big, burly. He was a giant teddy bear is what he was.
What was he?
Miss him dearly.
What height was he, Tim? 6'6"?
No, he wasn't that tall. I would say he was 6'1", but he had to be I don't know. I would say he was, I'm tough with this kind of thing, but I would say he had to be 270, 280 maybe.
Wow.
Pounds.
Yeah.
I could have that completely wrong. He could have been 300 pounds for all I know. I'm really bad at that. Yeah. Maybe he was even 6'2".
But you know what? I don't do pounds at all. We're all, my generation in Ireland here, we're all in stone. So at 13 stone, 14 and a half stone, My kids, kg. We're all in kgs now, the kids. Okay. I'm 60 kg or I'm 70 kg,
Yeah.
It's gone,
I'll send you over a picture of Bronco. You know what?
I'm
doing the podcast, when I'm editing, I'll put a picture of Bronco up on the.
Do.
Yeah. Just to make it a little bigger. A little B-roll.
Yeah.
That's what we say. But yeah, he was, we had some fun. It's funny. He didn't look Irish at all. His mom was Irish. I think his dad was Italian and he was Irish, or vice versa. And he did not look Irish whatsoever. He looked more Italian. But when we would go into pubs, he knew every word to every Irish song.
Did he?
And we would be singing all the songs. He knew every word to all the songs, That was something too, I tell you, and it bothers me a little bit because back then, we'd go over to Ireland and we'd go into a pub and we'd want to sing a couple songs, late at night, sit down in a corner with a local there, like an old timer or something, and he'd sing a song and we'd sing a song, and it was I loved that. It was so much fun. It doesn't still have that feeling when I'm in Ireland. I don't, you don't get that same. You'll definitely find places that people want to sing a few songs, but it wasn't like it was back then. It seems like it changed a little bit.
No, you're right there, Tim. And we've lost a lot of who we were. You know what I mean? And we've become more, I suppose, more European is the word, and lost a lot of our identity. But yet, in the more rural you'll go, though, you will still find it. You know what I mean? You find it in Cork.
That's why I like to go to those rural.
Yeah, Kerry, West Cork, Connemara, West Galway, Donegal up there. You'll get it there, But if you go into a pub now and you ask the band, to sing Sean South or get out your black and tans or whatever, they kind of go I don't know, we might offend somebody.
Yeah.
Saying, who are you offending? Sure, it's just your songs about Irish freedom, And they might do it, they might, or they mightn't, Especially if the tourists around. If they know it's you guys, they're all good. But if they might fear there's somebody from England or something around, and they might be afraid they might offend somebody, Yeah.
Well, that's when we were up in Derry this year, I was curious how that was going to be. I didn't know what we could say, sing, do, But we had a great time in Derry this year. That was fun.
I was telling you, I don't know, did I tell you when I was there, myself and my wife and two friends of ours, we went to Derry 2 years ago. Just St. Patrick's Day 2 years ago. And we went into that Pazzer O'Donnell's pub. And so we asked the guy, after having a few pints, he was playing music and he was doing the Fields of Athenry and he was doing the Cliffs some more, or the Cliffs of Duneen or whatever. But he wasn't doing any, So we went up and I opened up and I asked him, I says, where's Sean South or the Broad Black Rimmer or wherever, He goes, I can't, he said. I says, sure, we're the right side of town here for that, I know, but some of the other crowd from the Protestant side, they come in here as well, and we don't want to be pissing them off, I said, you know what? Fair enough. If they're coming in here, what's the point in pissing them off? It's all relatively peaceful up there at the moment. So I got my pint and I went to sit down where I was sitting. And I hadn't sat. And he starts Sean South. And he did about 6 songs in a row.
Oh, that's funny.
Yeah. After telling me he couldn't.
Yeah. That's funny. Well, you inspired him, maybe.
We got him going.
You know, it's in it. So that was the guy that owned that, right? Was Martin McGuinness's brother.
His nephew, I think.
Right?
I think it was Martin McGuinness's nephew.
Oh, his nephew.
His nephew.
Okay, I thought it was his brother.
As far as I know, yeah.
So he was in there that night. I actually did talk to him a little bit. But
really, yeah.
When I was talking to him, some girl came up to, he doesn't even own the bar anymore. He sold it. But when I was talking to him, we were, it was just small talk. We weren't talking anything about troubles or anything like that. We were just talking. He was asking me where I was from, but some girl walked up while I was talking to him and kind of like interrupted me talking to him. And she says, "Why do you have a sign? There's a drum behind the bar. It's like a drum, the head of a drum, and it says Londonderry on it. Not Derry. It says Londonderry on the thing."
In Padre O'Donnell's book?
In Padre O'Donnell's, right behind the bar.
Wow.
There was it's a whole sign that says Londonderry, and she was actually kind of giving him the business, and his answer was, "I don't own the place." I swore it was Martin McGuinness's brother, but
yeah, to call it Londonderry is a complete no-no. Like
in that area, right?
In any area in Ireland,
yeah, right.
Down here in Galway, no Irish person in their right mind would call it Londonderry. We just call it Derry.
I thought it was interesting, and I was in the right place or I don't know if you want to say the right place or the wrong place at the right time, but that girl came up and was like kind of giving him the business. I'd actually like to get him on the podcast. That would be an interesting conversation.
That'd be a good one, yeah. Yeah.
So let's go back to the 70s, 80s, that 80s time frame there.
Yeah.
Did any of your family members actually immigrate? Did they leave?
Do you know what, Tim? I don't have a single relative living overseas. No, the only one person that I know left Ireland, and that was myself. I went to Australia.
Yep.
In 1989, I went to Australia. So
for how long?
I finished school in 83, and I got a part-time job, kind of with a farmer, picking rocks on the side of a mountain between Lochray and Gort. And I spent the whole summer 1984 doing that. And then 1985, I was 20. I had a car, had a part-time job. There was nightclubs on the scene. And on the 1st of June, 1985, I went to Slane Castle in County Meath. It was a big venue for concerts. And I went to see no less than Bruce Springsteen, the boss. And 90,000 people along with me showed up. And 1985 was a really wet year, really bad weather-wise. But that day, the 1st of June, it was like 30 degrees, not a cloud in the sky. And he came on, it was the Born in the USA tour.
Yeah, that just came out, yep.
And he rocked the place to the ground. It was the best day. Oh, super.
Yeah.
And but the mid-80s were good. Like Galway were in the hurling final in 85 and 86. They lost the two of them. Then Galway won it in 87 and 88. 2 in a row. They should have won 3 in a row. Then in 1989, I decided I'd go to Australia. Because I had gotten a job in the meantime, a door-to-door salesman, selling water softeners, water purifiers. And I did that for a year or two. And then it just ran out of the road. And I bought a ticket and went, myself and another friend of mine went to Australia. And we spent a year and a half in Sydney, in Australia. And
did you intend on staying there?
What's that?
Did you intend on staying there?
I was going out. You see, my current and only wife, Martina. I was going out with her before I went, and then we kind of went our own way. And when I was there, sure, I had to come back again to her, like, you know what I mean? And then when I got back, we got engaged. But there was still no work. So our plan then was the two of us were going to go, this was 1990. The two of us were going to go back to Australia permanently. Around that time, one day, what was I doing? I was up on the roofing the house with my brother who was going to get married. And it just came into my head for no reason whatsoever. You know, here I am doing work, not getting paid. There's no money in this. I hopped on my bicycle, cycled down the road about half a mile to the local shop, went in, bought a national newspaper, and seen an advertisement. Wanted temporary merchandiser for Christmas period. So I rang them up. Turns out it was Guinness. And I got a job working with them for 5 weeks during the Christmas in 1990. And afterwards, I ended up getting the job permanent with them in 1991. So I ended up going kind of for having nothing to having a really good job with pension and company care and everything. Do you know what I mean? So I went from
That's great.
0 to hero, like, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So what did you end up doing? You were with them for almost 30 years?
Just short, yeah. Just a few months short of 30 years, yeah.
And what was your job with them?
My job with them was, when I started off first, my job was merchandising stores. We call them off licenses here. You guys might call them liquor stores. So I would go into a liquor store, as you would call it, build a big display of Guinness or Smithwick's, which was one of our brands. Harp, Carlsberg, Budweiser was one of our brands. So you'd build a display, put the price cards on it, and try and promote that side of the business as much as possible. So I spent 2 years doing that. It was called merchandising. And then after 2 years, the progression then was to go to what we call the on-trade, which is the pubs. So then I was moved across as a trainee, calling to the pubs when somebody would be on holidays, doing relief sales. So, you know, I might be 2 weeks here, 2 weeks there, you know. And then I got my own area, which was up in Ballina and Belmullet. Yeah. So I lived up there for 4.5 years. Myself and Martina and Karen. And my two sons were born there.
In Ballina?
In Ballina, yeah.
Yeah.
I lived halfway between Ballina and Crossmalina. So I showed Mike the house one day.
Oh.
And he told me my fence was crooked.
Yeah, he said, you see that fence over there? I built that. And Mike said, you should have used a level. And you said, fuck you, Mike. Oh, that was good.
Yeah, so that's where we lived. We lived there for 4.5 years. And do you know what? I think the nicest people in Ireland are from North Mayo. Not South Mayo, down in Castlebar, Westport in the area. Nice people, yeah. They're fine, you know. Yeah. But North Mayo, especially Belmullet, that whole area, Erris, Bangor, Erris, Belmullet, all up around there. They're really nice, friendly.
I guess that's where I get it from.
That's it. Yeah.
My grandfather is from Belmullet. My grandmother's from Bangor.
I knew your connections. I didn't know that much connections up there.
Yeah. My grandmother's cottage it's starting to fall to ruin because it's totally abandoned now. It's one of those places that's just sitting there and there's no roof on it. But I was there last summer, and I'm gonna try and get some of the other cousins together and maybe not fix it up where it's livable, but at least get a roof on it and just fix it up so it's preserved. You know, this is the house my grandmother grew up in.
Whereabouts is it?
It's in Clonchakilla. It's basically right on Carramore Lake.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Beautiful area. It's a
Oh,
beautiful
it's lovely.
area. Yeah.
Yeah.
The Winters. I don't know if you ever heard of that last name up in that area. Winters.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
That's my grandmother. Yeah, we'll see.
Be nice. It would be nice. Yeah.
So now, have you ever been to New York?
I have. I've been to New York twice. Myself and Martina and the kids, we were in Florida one time in about 2005 or 6.
Mhm.
And we came home via New York. And we spent 3 nights in Manhattan.
Oh, good.
And
Did you
we
go
drank
any
pints.
place?
What's that?
Did you go out to any of the restaurants, or what did
We did,
what
but
you do while
I
you were there?
can't remember. I
Okay.
can't remember. And then I was there with, you know Peter, the guy that drove you one year?
Yeah.
I was there with Peter about 2 years ago. Or 3 years ago, maybe 3 years ago. We were there for 2 nights. We should have, I don't know, did I know you at the time? I probably did 3 years ago. I should have phoned you.
Yeah.
We spent 3 nights in it, in Manhattan as well. And we got a great deal. We stayed in one of the Hiltons just off Times Square. I mean,
Okay.
100 yards off Times Square. And I think we got it for about $110 a night or something like that. It was for nothing.
Pretty good.
Yeah. And there was an Irish pub just down the road from it. Really, really nice pub. I can't remember the name of it though.
There's a few.
Yeah.
There is a few in that area. Yeah.
So yeah.
You don't remember the name?
We just done the touristy things, you know what I mean? We just, we're down to Ground Zero and, we did the usual stuff like,
Well, next time you're in the New York area, you have to definitely call me and we'll
I'll be, for now, for sure. Yeah.
We'll show you a few more things. A few more areas.
Yeah.
So you mentioned to me that you were big into the hurling. Did you actually you were a hurler?
I was. Now I wasn't exactly an all-star or anything like that. I never got to play for Galway, but I played club hurling with my club and senior club hurling. And my club was called Pádraig Pearses. So a lot of clubs in Ireland, are, Pádraig Pearses, Sarsfield. They're named after Irish, Thomas Davis, Davitts. They're named after Irish heroes, So Pádraig Pearse was a great name for the club. Of course, one of the signatories of the 1916 Declaration. So I played for them for years and years. I was very injury prone. I got a lot of injuries. There was actually one week, Tim, in 1985. I was training and I got 2 stitches here over my eye. No big deal. Went into the hospital, got 2 stitches. That was Thursday. The following Sunday, we were playing a game, and a guy, 4 stitches here, and broke my nose. So I was stretchered out the gate unconscious up to the hospital. Same doctor again. That was there the previous Thursday.
Okay.
She says, "What the fuck are you done here again?" So I was, so she put in 4 stitches in my nose here with no anesthetic. She didn't give me a local because she said if she did, it would leave a bigger scar.
Oh.
So I had 2 black eyes that were as black now as this top. 2 black eyes, and the game ended up a draw. So the replay was on the following week. So even though I had 2 black eyes, I went up training again on Thursday evening. And didn't a hurl come back and give me 6 more stitches here. Into the hospital, Tim. And I shit you not, it was the same doctor again.
Oh.
What she didn't say to me wasn't worth saying.
Did you have the other stitches even taken out yet, or did you?
She put in 6 and took out 2.
Oh,
And she left in the 4 here. Yeah, so I had 10. Yeah. So, but I never got injured after that. No, I did my ACL. I wrecked my ACL and had it redone. 37 years ago, actually, that was when I had it done. But so hence I was talking to you about getting a knee replacement in April.
Knee replacement.
But yeah.
We'll
So yeah, I loved
fly
hurling.
Brian over.
Yeah. We have the tools here. I have a couple of saws and a couple of hammers and things. So no, I loved hurling. I lived for it. You know what I mean? Followed played with the club, followed Galway. We hurled 7 days a week. Every hour of the day was the biggest passion in our lives.
Would you say it might be your fondest memory growing up is playing hurling?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Without a doubt.
Yeah.
And
I can see that.
My mother told me I was a fool. She said that her father, my grandfather, who died the same year I was born, actually, he said, there's nothing out of hurling, only broken bones. And
well, hold on a second. Didn't you get advice from your teacher that said, go find a hobby because you're not going to get a job?
There you go. Yeah. Well, I was playing hurling long before he told me that. Yeah. But yeah. So yeah, it was, and all of my neighbours and all my friends, it was what you done. You know what I mean? Yeah. And when you put on that jersey, like you were playing like for pride. No, that time in the 1980s. Hurling was pretty rough now. You could, the rules weren't anything like they are now. But that said, it was 100 times worse before that. But my time, so the 80s and 90s, after the 90s, it kind of changed. But, and it got more civilized and rightfully so, But, no, it was everything. To me, hurling, yeah, definitely the greatest memory growing up, yeah. I was in Galway, I was in Crow Park in 1980 when I seen Galway winning their first All-Ireland in 57 years. The day Joe Conde made the famous speech on Scalga. And then I was there in 87 and 88 when they won it again, Actually, I was there in 17 when they won it more recent. But yeah, definitely hurling was my thing, yeah.
That's great. So I played American football, and then when I went to college, I ended up playing rugby, which I loved. And I played that in college for a number of years, and then I even played with the fire department. FDNY has a rugby team, so I played with them for a little bit. But learning the rules was, that was the biggest challenge in the beginning, was learning how to play the game, at a late stage, because we didn't have my high school. We didn't have rugby. Very, very few areas had rugby at a young age.
Yeah,
here, the Rockaways had rugby. Some areas had rugby, but not where I grew up. So, but I loved playing when we were, in college, and it was that was so much fun. But one of the things I really enjoyed as I, now I'm older, and my son started to play lacrosse, and I don't know anything about that. So now I have to learn all the rules for lacrosse. But man, I got to watching lacrosse it was absolutely awesome. I loved watching my kid grow. He played from a little age. Now he's off into the business world now, but it was great watching these kids play lacrosse and learning that. So I was able to learn the rules of that, by watching it. So I bring this up because I want to start watching hurling, and now with the internet and with streaming and everything, I could watch it here, and I'd like to learn the rules there. So, what do you suggest? Even if people listening here, I would want them to comment, like what would be the best advice people could give me to learn, so when I'm watching it, I understand it.
I'd say, Tim, your first port of call would be YouTube. And get on YouTube and watch a few games. And then I'd say if you go onto the GAA website and Google, the rules of hurling, it will...
I've done that. It's a matter of... It'd be like... It's kind of like learning a language, too. You got to do it all the time.
But you know what, Tim? What we need to do is the next time you're in Ireland, right?
Yeah.
If it works out, on loads of occasions, I bring a hurl with me and a ball, a shitter. And sometimes I brought 4 or 5 of them hurls with me. And I brought guys out in the field, and I've showed them how it works. And they've hit the ball and throw it up and the whole thing, doing the blocks, the whole lot. Yeah.
Let's do that.
We'll do that. Yeah, I didn't realize that'd be, So we'll do that. Yeah. The one thing that's against us maybe is the weather in October. It may or may not be to get somewhere dry, you know.
So our dates for next year are October 7th to the 11th. I don't know if James emailed you yet.
I didn't. He might have, but they mightn't have said it to me just yet. Like, you know,
That's all right. Those are our dates for next year. The 7th.
Very
Well,
good.
we would leave here on the 7th, so we'd get in Ireland on the 8th. So we'll be there 8, 9, 10, 11.
Oh yeah, Thursday, Friday, Saturday. And have you any plans of where you might go?
Yeah, we're going to go to Belfast for 2 nights, and then we're going to do 1 night in Collingford. Somebody told me that it's the Dingle of the East.
Yeah,
That's what I heard.
Yeah. Like I said, I haven't been, but I've heard nothing, only good things about it, and people drive up there in the sun
well,
there.
then, well, maybe we'll just keep it at that. Yeah.
Yeah.
You know us. We'll have fun wherever we go. But
Belfast, though, Tim. Why Belfast?
I've been to Belfast, and so I have. That's the reason why I don't want to go. But the half of the guys on the trip, for people that are actually listening, they don't even know what we're talking about here. We do a 10-day. We have 10 guys, and we go on a 3-day pub crawl in Ireland every October. So most of the guys on the trip have never been to Belfast, and they all want to go to Belfast. So we're going to get that out of our system.
Okay.
We already picked.
Okay,
we know where we're going to go next year. The following year, 2027. We already have that picked out. We're going to go back to Dingle. So you didn't take us to Dingle.
No.
We were in Dingle. It's many years ago that we were in Dingle.
Dingle is a great place.
So we're going to go. We love Dingle. I love Dingle. But half the guys, we didn't have all 10 guys back then. So there's
Dingle. The pubs, the people.
So have you ever done that? Have you ever, when staying in Dingle, we took the Slayhead? Are you familiar with Slayhead?
I do it about once a week, Tim.
Oh, all right. So you know Slayhead. You've been to Ballyferriter?
Yeah.
There's a pub there called Sears. That is the best pint of Guinness I've ever had in Ireland. Sears. And now it's written in Gaelic, and I wouldn't be able to pronounce it, or it's in Irish, I should say.
I know the son of that owner who owns that place. I met him, would you believe it, in all places in Mombasa, in Africa.
In Africa?
I was in a pub one night, as you know, myself and Martine and the kids. We went one winter, we went to Mombasa for 3 weeks. It's a long story. We have a contact down there, and that's how we were there, But I was in this hotel one night in a bar, and I'm walking along. 90% of the people in it were black, and there was 10% white, they were tourists, and all very nice, really nice place and everything. And listen, this guy walks up to me, got me completely unawares, and goes, "Where are you from?" And I go, "Ireland." He goes, "Yeah, where?" I says, "Galway." And he was from that pub, Mac&Sayers pub.
That's unbelievable. Well, we're going to go there. So we're going to go there. Not this coming year. This coming October. The following year, that's where we're going. And we're definitely going back to that pub because...
Oh, yeah.
It's a funny story. We pull up to that pub, and there's like a sharp edge on the curb that's sticking out. We end up getting a flat tire. This is before we started hiring a van and a driver to take us.
Pub is on the left-hand side.
Yes, it's right on the left-hand
side. As you come back
so we pull up, we hit that thing on the tire, we blow the tire out. Now we're sitting on we had a van. Somebody, I think, walked into the pub, whatever. The owner of the pub walks out, and he's got his hand behind his back, and he comes out like to where us, and he holds out, and it's a bicycle pump. Just joking around, But that broke the ice. We were laughing, helped us get the tire squared away. And then we went into his pub, and I'm telling you right now, it was a great pint of Guinness. Yeah. You talk about the creamy pint you had there. I have pictures of these perfectly poured pints, and they were so delicious.
Yeah.
So, and that's a pub I absolutely want to go back to.
Yeah. Well, when I'm doing a tour and driving folks around the country during the summer, my favorite place is Dingle. Do you know what, Tim? Last year when we did the drive there, that Saturday around Donegal, and we had the two fellas from Jerry with us.
Downings. We went up towards Downings, right?
I'll tell you, the pubs we went to that day, the mall. I went in with you guys. Didn't go drinking much, but I went in with you. There's no pubs in Galway as good as those. They were the best pubs I was ever in.
I 100% agree.
I was never in pubs. That pub where we had the Seafood Chowder, and we gave Mike
was the
the
singing
small
pub.
glass of Guinness.
Yeah, that was the singing pub. Whoa, that was
Is
that
that
was
what it's
the best chowder I ever had.
Yeah,
And the day before that, we were up in Ferran. I actually have the shirt on. Farron's was
yeah,
the northernmost pub in Ireland.
Yeah,
that had a great chowder. Prior to going to the singing pub, I would have put them as the number one chowder I've ever had. But that singing pub was really good.
Have you been to Moran's the Weir in Galway, Kilcolgan?
Where?
It's called Moran's Oyster Cottage. It's down by the sea. It's as you come from.
Is it is it Salt Hill?
No. If you're coming up from the Cliffs of Moher, if you're coming up from Doolin, on that road into Galway.
Oh,
on the Limerick Road, we call it, into Galway.
Yeah. I've driven that road.
There's a village called Kilcolgan, and there's a little road down to the sea, a dead-end road, and down at the very end of that road, there's a place called Moran's Oyster Cottage, a thatched cottage. In the family for about 300 years, they do the best chowder in the world.
All right, so you got to put that on the list.
The owner for this guy called Willie, and he's such a nice guy, you know what I mean?
You know, we obviously were there on our pub crawl, and we were looking for that great pint of Guinness. But since we've been doing this trip, it's always about the fish chowder. Who's got the best fish chowder? We try it at every place we go.
But you know,
everybody.
Yeah. How are you guys fixed now? Do you know that there's the? You obviously know, but I'm just saying it. There's the New England kind of clam chowder with all the cream.
Yeah.
And then what you call maybe the Manhattan type chowder.
Yes. Yeah.
The more tomatoey colored kind of.
Yes.
Which one would you prefer?
All right. So definitely the New England chowder over the Manhattan chowder. That's me personally. My wife and I, we went down in New Jersey every year. I don't know if they still have it. It's many years ago, but in Long Beach Island, they have a chowder fest there. So all of the restaurants would come in and compete with their chowder. And there was two tents. One tent was the New England clam chowder, and the other tent was the Manhattan clam chowder. And you go and you take, they give you a little cup and you taste all their chowder. And it's all the restaurants from that area. And there's, I don't know, there had to be at least 20, 25, maybe more restaurants. So it was a lot of taste testing, right? But I'll tell you, the winner was always the one that put bacon in it. Yeah. You put bacon in it, it's a winner.
Yeah. Well, I actually prefer the Manhattan chowder. I prefer less cream,
Yeah.
And Moran's the Weir, and another place called. Were you ever in Vaughan's pub in Liscannor?
Now where would that be?
It's about 5 minutes from the Cliffs of Moher. So Vaughan's seafood chowder as well is up there with Moran's. It's unbelievable. Really,
okay.
They do a killer fish and chips as well. Great place to go, and it's Liscannor. Like it's only. See, if you're coming from Limerick, you would come through Ennis, which is a big enough town. Then you would come to Lahinch, which is the famous golf club.
Big golf area there.
Yeah. Yep. And then there's a little town, Liscannor, and then there's just more. So there's a great seafood chowder there as well. Like Moran's. I did Moran's 1, I did Vaughan's 2.
All right, I'm going to look that up. Can we touch more on Guinness? I'd like to hear more about like your experience working with Guinness. You must have did a lot of traveling, right?
Yeah, Guinness is obviously it's an iconic brand. It's a company you'd be very proud to work for. It was seen at the time as a very good job. It was a job for life. That has all changed now. Of course, it's now part of Diageo. You know what I mean? But when I started, it was Guinness. But no, it was a very good company to work for. I was very lucky to get working with them. And because you're in the hospitality industry and you're dealing with publicans, they're a very colourful bunch, And And therefore the people that Guinness hire to communicate with them or to, and to deal with them are colourful as well. So the whole thing it's huge. Like it's very, very, it's very sociable. Unfortunately, when I started now, there was an awful lot of alcoholics in the business. They were coming near the end of their term, but they were out. They would drink 15, 20 pints every day under the guise of sampling, just to make sure the product was right. So you go into a pub and have 4 pints to make sure it was okay, then go to the next one and have 4 more. But in my generation, that never happened because the whole thing, we weren't like that anyway. And the second thing was drink driving. It wasn't responsible. You couldn't dream of doing that nowadays, But the publicans you were dealing with, they could say anything or they could do anything, you know what I mean? Great for telling stories and all sorts of stuff and what we would call pulling fast ones or pulling strokes or whatever,
We call it breaking balls. We say breaking balls.
I'll give you an example. There was this friend of mine and he used to call to a pub in Galway City, which will remain nameless because it's still open. I have to be very careful because all these characters I'm talking about, or most of them, are still alive,
Yeah.
So this guy is a rep and he's calling to this guy every week. But the guy wasn't well. He was on a lot of medication and stuff, So he moved area and he changed area and he had to bring the new guy around with him to introduce him to all the customers. And the day he called to this particular individual, the guy wasn't there. He was gone somewhere. So then my friend left. The new guy arrived and the following week he goes into the pub, right? And the guy is sitting beside his fireplace and he goes, "Oh, how are you?" He stands up. He drops his trousers. He turns around and he bends over. And the new guy goes, fuck, he said. Whatever John was doing, he said, all bets are off, he said. I'm not like that. And the guy goes, "Whenever you're ready there, doctor." So what happened was, the guy was old, he's still alive, right? He used to get an injection in the butt every week from a doctor. And when the new guy calls in, the publican thought there was a doctor that was calling. He stands up, he drops his trousers, and he bends over. That happened about probably 20 years ago now. Do you know what I mean? But
you can't make that up.
Oh, you couldn't make that up,
No.
Another story. I have a guy up in Mayo, not 100 miles from Belmullet now, a real character. And he had this old guy that used to call into him, and he was very bad on the eyesight. And one day, for the fun, this publican, he gets the spoon for the soup. The guy came in every day for a bowl of soup and a sandwich. And he got a drill. He drilled a hole through the spoon. And the guy is hearing his soup and going, the soup is going down. And he just did it for the fun. And it went on for, next week it went on. And then the following week, he got a hacksaw and he cut the spoon. And the guy put the spoon in, the bit fell off. And then he ran out. "You're barred on my pub, you're breaking my spoon." But there's just guys that would do that sort of stuff for a bit of fun. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So when you were working with Guinness, I could talk to you about, Guinness itself, about the emphasis it placed on quality and glassware and all the promotions they done. But for me, the funniest part about it was the characters I met when I was calling in there. Do you know what I mean?
Oh, yeah.
You were calling to, 90 pubs a week. So you met all sorts. But I know with Guinness itself, though, I remember there was a while there I was on a tasting panel, and you would have to go up to Dublin on a Monday morning, and they'd put out, all the little samples of Guinness in front of you, and you have to sample them for quality reasons, Now, you'd be drinking that much. Between the whole lot, you might have drank a pint and a pint and a half, and they'd give you tea and water and soup and everything afterwards, and you couldn't leave the brewery for 2 hours and everything, But I remember, like, it was a very interesting thing to be doing, because you had all the head brewers there, and they were looking for their, the notes and the flavors and the whole thing, like, And when I was doing that now, that was a long time ago. That was probably 1990. 93 or 94 maybe, or back around then, like, But quality, of course, was a big thing with them, It was always about having the perfect pint everywhere, which is a very difficult thing to do. We see them guys, we clean the lines, we supply everything, we do everything for them. But the problem is, as you said earlier on, glassware. Problem is cleaning glasses and washing glasses and keeping it right, like, you know what I mean? It's not straightforward at all,
Yeah. My father used to always say, never serve a beer in a glass that once had milk in it. So if there was ever a glass, if it ever had milk in it, doesn't matter if it was washed, you never serve a beer in that glass.
And that is why that was your father said that, was it?
That was my father.
Yeah. He was 100% right. And that is why hotels, and some hotels, now not them all, some hotels and some pubs that do food, that is why they don't serve great Guinness, because milk is the number one contaminant of a glass. Because if you put in a coffee cup, or even if somebody's having a glass of Baileys with cream in it, and you put that glass into the glass washer, it contaminates the other 40 glasses or whatever's in the glass washer. It contaminates them all, and it leaves a little invisible, like, coating inside the glass. So when you fill your pint of Guinness then into that glass, the head of the Guinness goes yellow, and the head breaks down really quick, and it won't stick to the glass, and you get this kind of a taste of it is just not right, you know what I mean? Now, in fairness, most publicans are very conscientious and they try to do the right thing, but their problem is staff. So you might hire some little guy for his summer holidays. He doesn't care. He throws in 2 milk glasses in and out with their Guinness glasses. And so your father was right, yeah. He was dead right, yeah.
That's interesting.
Yeah. So Guinness is sold in pretty much every country in the world, and you'll never find out how much they sell in Ireland. It's a hard question to find out, but I'd say around 2.5 million barrels of Guinness every year is probably around that figure sold in Ireland. If you multiply that by 88 pints in every keg,
Yeah.
It's a lot of Guinness.
Well, I mean, this can of Guinness it's pretty good. I mean, for a can, so if I'm going to go to a hotel, I'd rather have this can than through their tap. You know what I mean? Because it's going to taste better from this.
Do you know, when I first did my interview for Guinness in 1991, actually, for the permanent job, they said they were going to launch something revolutionary, and they needed, proper people. They're the one hiring that were committed and the whole thing, and they kept on about this new innovation they had that was going to revolutionize beer, and that's what it was. It was it was canned draft Guinness
with the
disc,
ball,
the disc inside it, the nitrogenated disc inside it. And that's what it was. And the first time they brought that out, it was in a 330 ml can. It wasn't a 500 can at all.
Right.
And I remember going into a particular store in Galway, one of the biggest stores in Ireland, and I said to the guy who was since passed, a very nice man, said to him, we need to, send you in a few pallets of this, as in, I think a pallet of beer is about 80 cases. So I was thinking, maybe 4 pallets, 320 cases of Guinness. And he goes, yeah, I'll take 1 case. I go, what? 1, I'll take 1. And sure, if it sells, I can get more. And he took 1 case. And he rang me the next day. He goes, give me 4 pallets. Because they were gone in a couple of minutes. They were just gone when people seen them, It was a huge success. But I was there. I'm proud to say I was there when that was launched,
Wow.
Yeah.
Well, let me ask you this. So This is actually pretty funny. I don't know how many years ago, probably at least maybe 10 or 12 years ago, somebody tells me you got to, when you open up the can, you got to pour it upside down 100% until you pour it. That's the proper way to pour a can. So I don't remember who told me that, but I told everybody. That's how I'm pouring. My father's pouring the can that way. You see it all the time. People pour it upside down. And then it's only last year. I'm sitting there and I'm looking at the can and there's directions on it. It's so small, but there's actually directions. And it says here that you pour it on a 45-degree angle. It says it right on the directions. For 10 years, I've been pouring it totally upside down. And here it says, upon opening, the famous round plastic widget in every can unleashes nitrogen through the beer, creating the creamy head and iconic surge that's distinctly Guinness. To best enjoy, open the can and wait a moment. I don't know how long a moment is. Wait a moment for the nitrogen to release. Pour into the glass, tilt it at a 45-degree angle, watch the surge and settle, and then enjoy. That's the directions. Here I am pouring this thing upside down,
but
telling everybody.
I'd say to him, most people do what you're doing, the upside down and just
upside down.
Yeah. I'd say, I used to always do the 45 degrees, but I've started doing what you're doing lately, just upside down. Now, when I had my own tap in the shed during the Christmas, that was 45 degrees and let it settle.
That's different, right?
Yeah.
You'd say that's different, but that's what it says on the can.
Do you know how long it takes for a pint of Guinness? Do you know how long it takes for a pint of Guinness to settle properly?
I did know, but I don't know.
119.5 seconds.
Oh, I actually have the certificate from the Guinness factory. You know, they teach you that, and I think it says it on there.
Oh yeah,
I forget now. You know what? The bottom line is, Guinness is good. It's good for you. So you left Guinness, and was the first thing you did after Guinness start driving for the touring company, or what happened there?
No, I left Guinness. I left Guinness in at the end of May 2020, in the middle of COVID. Okay. So I didn't do anything at all in 20 or 21. Well, I did a lot. I painted my house, I painted the kitchens, I sowed trees, I did everything around the house and that kind of stuff. And then a friend of mine, Peter, said to me he had gotten a license to drive a bus, and he said it was great, how fun. You're meeting lots of people and doing stuff and all that, you know. Yeah. So I said I might as I'll why not, you know. So I did the driving test, and the day actually I was driving in to Galway to do the test, the guy who drive for Keith Spain, he rings me and he goes, "You might do a bit of driving for me." I said, "I haven't got the license at all yet." And he said, "You'll get the license all right." And I did. And I started working from a couple of weeks later, you know. And you meet all sorts. The people that I drive, it's 99% people from the US. And that's what I want, really. I have no interest in driving Europeans. I had a family last year from Italy, and there wasn't 4 words said in 2 days, 3 days, and nearly drove me to drink. I like to talk to people and have a bit of a laugh, especially, you know what I mean, like your group.
I guess we fit that bill.
Oh, yeah, except Mike. So I told Claire, I said, "Claire, cross out everybody else." I said, "US people," I said, "I'll take Canadians as well." So I got a couple of Canadians and I got a couple from Australia, but it's nearly all people from the US, and you meet all sorts, and it's so divided over there, you don't know what to say at different times, like, you know. But I've been doing it. This is my, this year now coming up will be my 5th year doing it. And I kind of drive from the middle of March, just after St. Patrick's Day, to maybe mid-October, and then take the winter off and go to Spain or go here and there, somewhere where there's a bit of sun, like, you know. And there's always a ton of stuff, gardening and pruning and all sorts of stuff to be done. I live in the countryside, way out, you know, 3 or 4 miles out from a town. So
Yeah.
I have a lot of stuff to be doing, you know. So it's it's grand. It suits me down to the ground because you do it during the summer, take the winter off, like, you know. So
Yeah, and you're dealing with people, and you're a people person, and that's a good thing, you know. You
yeah,
must
and you know what
meet
else?
a lot of characters along that.
Yeah, and you know what? People from the US, they come to Ireland with the kind of I'm here on vacation, I'm here for a good time kind of attitude, and it's great. Do you know what I mean? Whereas you meet some other nationalities and the weather is bad. US people, I don't care about the weather. I'm here for the fun or for the whatever, Guinness or to meet people or to see the scenery, you know?
Right.
Speaking of scenery, Tim, have you ever been to a place called the Healey Pass?
No, that doesn't
Hely.
ring a bell. Where?
It's it's
Where is it?
it's my favorite place in Ireland, outside of
Wh-
Slayhead. Yeah, it's if you're in Kinmare,
Yeah.
you know Kinmare?
Yeah.
Yeah. So we'll say Kinmare's on just two peninsulas. So
Yep.
Kinmare's on what we call the Ring Kerry kind of peninsula.
Yep.
And the one down from that is the Beara Peninsula. And that brings you off out towards West Cork. So you leave
Okay.
County Kerry, you drive out this peninsula and you take a left and you go up over mountains and down over valleys. And there's rock formations and there's these corkscrew, you call them switchback roads.
I know exactly where you're talking about now, but the only area I've been through that way is between Kinsale and Killarney.
Oh yeah.
And Kinmare, through Kinmare.
It starts in Kinmare and you can do a loop and you can go right off the Beara Peninsula. See, the people in
Yeah.
Kerry are excellent at promoting themselves. And the Board Fáilte, the Tourism Board of Ireland, they're excellent at promoting, they did a great job promoting Kerry. But the Beara Peninsula in Cork is every bit as nice as the Ring Kerry. It's gorgeous. It's not full of buses. It's you drive along there, you might meet anybody at all.
Mm-hmm.
Don't tell anyone.
Yeah, there's a couple of pubs that I've looked at online that are in that direction that I've never been to, that I want to get to. This is a terrible story, but my neighbor, his name is Mike Gain. His family's from Kinmare.
What's his name?
So Mike Gain, Gaine. No,
I know.
hold on. I'm going to tell you. So I'm
I know the
talking to him
story.
one day, and he says, my cousin, who's Mike Gain, was murdered. You know this story? You know the story.
Yeah.
And it's his cousin, and he's got the same name.
I passed his house, I'd say 10 times this year. It's just, as you're on the Ring Kerry, it's just a place called Mall's Gap. It's just there. And well, we won't say anymore. They have a suspect, like.
Yeah, I know, and I heard he's American, I think, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So, yeah, it's a small world, but I mean, when we're sitting here talking about it, I'm like, I can't get over that. He told me the whole story.
And
that's his cousin. That's so
crazy.
And he's got the same last name. He said, if I go over there and I tell people my name is Mike Gain, they're going to probably look at me.
Yeah, that's uncanny. Jeez, I'm getting the shivers even thinking about it. Yeah. Well, I hope there's a bit of something new in this conversation anyway for you.
It's all, Des. It's all about. It's a little bit of storytelling, a little bit of documenting some history and things that growing up in Ireland and making some people understand and making me understand what it was like. And what it's like now, and I think we all have a lot in common.
I'll tell you a good one, Tim. Speaking of stories, that my mother told me. We grew up in East Galway, and my mother, it wouldn't be uncommon back in the day if a couple had 5 children. It's got 10 children, but we'll say they had 5 or 6 children,
sure,
and they had a cousin living down the road. And it was common at the time for people not to get married. So you could have a brother and sister living together. And that brother or sister, that'd be cousins of the people, might take a child or two off the family. Now, they might only be living 100 yards on the road or 200 yards, but the child would grow up within people. They'd be like nearly fostered, even though they're only 3 fields away from their home place. And that kind of happened with my mother. So there was a couple cousins of theirs, a brother and sister, who lived only 2 fields down from my mother's place. So she grew up with them. And the guy's name was Johnny. And he told her that in 1920, he had made a few cattle. And he went to the mart to sell the cattle. And he got £80. Now, £80 in 1920 was a lot of money. And he wouldn't have much outgoing because he lived just with his sister or whatever, you know. Didn't have a car, didn't have a tractor, didn't have anything like that, you know. So he was at home in his house, and around 9 o'clock that night, a knock came to the door. And he goes, "Who is it?" Because it was dark or something. No answer. Another knock. "Who is it?" Next thing, bang, 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 3 or 4 more knocks. Goes, "Who is it?" And next thing he heard, "Open the fucking door, Paddy." So it's the Black and Tans. So when he heard the English accent, there was a kind of an old dresser where people kept their delf and their cups and saucers and he put a leg up in the thing, up in the dresser, and he climbed out through the thatch and down the back of the house. And he wasn't gone 20 yards and he heard the shots. And the Tans fired 3 or 4 shots in through the door of the house, kicked down the door. Somebody had informed them that he sold the cattle and that he got £80. And the Tans, of course, they were nearly always drunk. They did most of their killing when they were drunk. So They broke into the house and they cut the mattress in the bed and they wrecked the house searching for the money. And they got the dresser, as we call it, with all the death, and they threw it down the ground and looked behind and everything to find the money. And they never found it. And he had the money left on the shelf in a jug, it was a blue jug with a picture of a bull on it. I seen it myself.
Yeah.
And the jug fell out on the ground and cracked, but the money never come out, and the Tans never got the money. But that wasn't that long ago, like, you know.
Yeah. Wow.
Yeah.
That's an interesting story.
Yeah. So he escaped the Tans and they didn't get his money. But you know, there was a lot of stories about that kind of stuff when I was growing up, because it was only a generation before it, you know.
Did he leave after that then? Or did he go back to his house?
What he done was he climbed out of the house, round the back, up 2 fields to my grandmother's and my grandfather's house, where my mother was brought up, and he went up to their house. At this stage now, 1920, my mother wasn't born. My mother was born in 1929. So she was born on the 13th of April, 1929. As she said, it was the day of the Wall Street crash. The day she was born. Yeah. So he went up to his cousins and he hid there and he stayed there for the night. Went back down again the next day. But they were hard times, like, you know.
Yeah.
There was a woman down South Galway, about maybe 30 miles from us. She was standing at the door of her house one day, and the Black and Tans drove past, and they just took a shot for the fun, straight through, killed her, and she was expecting at the time, so both herself and the baby died.
Wow.
Yeah, that she was a Mrs. Quinn was her name, Quinn. Yeah,
that's sad.
Yeah, there's tons of them stories.
I know.
Yeah,
I know.
But
and that's why I like to get those things out, because what do you got to say? He wants to eat. I know this is a good way to document these kinds of things, you know, because if you don't tell me this story, it might be the last time that story is told, you know,
yeah,
and then it's forgotten.
Yeah,
then it's forgotten. But here we're kind of documenting stories like that.
Yeah.
You know, whether they're happy or sad, it's okay.
Yeah.
You know, because it's part of history, and I'm one that does not want history erased.
Oh, me too. You know, if you were to say to me, what's the most thing I would like, you know, for my generation to be kept going, is the real truth on Irish history, and not to be the generation nowadays would be, if you say to somebody, oh, that, the Tens shot, two brothers down the road there, I don't know, you might offend somebody by saying that, It needs to be told, you know what I mean? Because it needs to be told, because it's the only way you stop these things happening again is get it out there, like, you know what I mean?
Exactly. History has a way of repeating itself. Ignorance is bliss, they say, right? Here's what I'll say, Des, is you've done this now with me, and I will guarantee you, here's what's going to happen. As time goes on now, you can say, oh, Tim would have liked this. It was this one. Just jot it down. Jot it down. And then a year from now, we do another one. We do a part 2, and you say, oh, I thought of this, and let's, you know what I mean? So if you do think of something.
I'll tell you a good one.
Yeah.
So back in the 80s, when we were kind of getting going, we're 18, 22 kind of thing, 20, 25 or that age. So the big thing to do was to go to a concert. So the Dubliners were a little bit, when the Dubliners were touring Ireland, they were a little bit before my time. I remember my mother going to see them.
Luke Kelly, this would be the Luke Kelly days?
Luke Kelly, yeah.
Yeah.
And she said, I asked her the next day, what was your favourite song? And she said, Joe Hill. Do you know, you're familiar with that song?
I do, yeah.
That was her favourite song. But she said they were all drunk, completely drunk, only Luke Kelly and John Sheehan. She said the rest of them were all out of their heads. But she said Luke Kelly and John Sheehan kept them going, But in the same venue, the Wolf Tones came. It was 1984. And I'd say that was a small pub with a ballroom. There could have been 1,000 people in it. It was packed. And the Wolf Tones get up and they give it the whole shebang. And they came a few times, and it was like that was the highlight of the year, would be to see the Wolf Tones in this little town. But who came one time? Only Christy Moore. And myself and 2 other guys went down to see Christy. And he was up on the stage and he was giving his thing and he was all sweating, he was everything, he was great. And he said he'd sing a song, it's called The Sun is Burning. Do you know that song? It's about the dropping the bomb in Nagasaki.
Maybe if I heard it.
Yeah, and the sun is burning in the sky. But anyway, he's singing the song. It's a very emotional song and he wants complete silence. And I had this idiot with me. And he had one of these yolks you put in your mouth and you brrr, to make this noise, And he just thought this would be a great time to start making this noise. And Christy was, lads, be quiet down there, The more quieter, the more Christy shouted, the worse the guy got. And he was shouting, Christy. Christy lost the plot. Rightfully so.
Yeah.
Packed his guitar, stood up, walked out the door. Middle of the show, gone. So we were saying, like, to your man, like, look, anyway, Christy wrote a song called Encore, if you know the song. And
not sure.
Yeah, check it out, right? Song called Encore, right?
Yeah.
And there's one line in it, and he goes, if I get an encore, I go home feeling like a king, right? But there's 2 lines in it. It goes, Mount Bellew, which is the name of the town we were in, was like purgatory. He said.
Oh.
Yeah. So because of my buddy, we're actually mentioned in the Christy Moore song. Right.
That's pretty funny.
Yeah. When I meet the guy now and I say to him, he goes, stop. Don't mention it. He's embarrassed about it, like, you know what I mean? So we might do another one again some other time, Tim.
Absolutely. Like I said, write some stuff down.
Yeah. And we'll be talking.
You just reminded me of a little something when I went to see the Wolf Tones. The first time I ever saw the Wolf Tones was I was 13 years old. And we'll call it 1980. Maybe it was even 81. It was Belt of the Celts. That was the name of the album that had just come out, whatever year that was. And they played at this place, and my parents took me. My father is the one that organized the concert. So he had met the Wolf Tones a handful of times. I even have a signed thing from them. But many years later, they played at this bar in the Bronx called Characters. It's long closed now, but they played there a few times. I saw them there once or twice. And after they played, they would sit at the bar, and I got talking to Tommy Byrne just at the bar having a pint after they were singing. And I asked him, I said, who do you think the greatest Irish singer was of all time? I said, I have a theory that it was Luke Kelly. And he looked at me and he said, you are 1,000% correct. Luke Kelly had the greatest voice of all time.
I think he's right.
Yeah.
Tommy has a great voice himself.
Oh, he's got a great, absolutely.
Wow.
That's why it was good to hear that from him, It was, because, he's got terrific voice. It's sad that they're done.
Yeah.
I'm hoping maybe one day they'll do some sort of a.
You never know. You never know.
Yeah. My brother used to own a bar. He was part owner on a bar in Manhattan called McFadden's. And they used to play there every once in a while. So my brother would talk to, I'm pretty sure it was Noel that he spoke to that, to get the thing together. But the last time I saw all four of them play was in that bar in McFadden's Pub on 42nd and 2nd. That was right around the time where they were breaking up. Because after they were done playing, Derek set up his own little table and the other three guys had their own, he was selling his own CDs and they were selling at the same time,
The time
you can see that there was definitely something going on at that point.
Yeah.
Which is sad. Great. It was great listening to them growing up.
They were great. And would you be a fan now of Johnny McAvoy? Would have a song called Morshin Durkin?
Oh yeah,
Goodbye Morshin Durkin. So I'm sick and tired of working.
Tired of working. Yeah,
that's Johnny McAvoy.
Yeah. Okay.
And he, in my opinion, he sings the best version of the Cliffs of Dooneen.
Oh,
I think so. In my opinion,
I'll have to listen to that because I do like Paddy Riley's version of Cliffs of Dooneen.
No, I think Johnny
okay, I'm going to listen.
He has a song called Michael. It's about Michael Collins. Oh, it's a great song. Johnny McAvoy. But check out Johnny McAvoy, Michael.
Okay.
It's a great song.
I'm going to look that up.
Yeah.
And definitely, Des, we will definitely do another one. When you think of something, write it down. Because now that you know the format and how this is, I guarantee you're gonna say, "Oh, this would have been a good thing to talk about. This would have been a good thing to talk about." Just write them down, and we'll, if it's a year from now, we'll revisit.
We'll do it. Come here. We'll sign off with that.
We'll sign off with that.